Hey, welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show. Excited to have you with us here on this fabulous Friday. And normally we have Wednesday for AJ, but this week he had some stuff going on, bouncing around. We had some stuff bouncing around. And it didn't work out Friday, but it worked out today. And so our man, Mr. Aaron James Hawk, is going to hop on here with us. So, you didn't have your call for him today? What's going on?
I didn't have it summoned because it wasn't that day. He just, we already knew him. I saw him before the deal. So I didn't have the hawk call ready like this, ready to go.
The deal before the deal. What AJ wants to know.
Plus, we have so many things to talk to him about, Bob.
Well, and why? Well, he wants to know where you're at and why you're not in your garage.
Yeah, hey, I am not in my garage. Well, first off, he didn't ask me that question, but that's okay. So, what am I doing? Well, I have no clue what I'm doing. I ordered pods, and my only question to the guy that delivered it on the Podzilla was, how much can this bad boy hold? Because I'm going to fill it up and with a lot of girthy weights. So got a 3-car garage loaded into one pod with also some Christmas decorations, all the stuff out of the attic. Everything is now loaded and ready for the Podzilla, and all that's going to the armory, of which, dude, you'd appreciate this. I had my gun safe in there, and just by myself, I had to get on top of, you put your foot on the doomajig on the bottom, and I had to rock it to get the momentum because my arms aren't long enough to just be able to pull it. So I had to get up there and just lean it back to where it was almost going to fall out, catch it on my shoulder. And then I was like, I was good. And I walked it out of there. And then I leaned it down on top of these mats, and then I just deadlifted it up. It was great.
Yeah, I believe it, Shakes. I believe it. So I would assume they have some kind of weight limit on that thing, because what do they load that up on the back of a truck and then drive it to the armory?
Yeah, but they said the Podzilla can do all things. And I was like, great, just drive this thing right to Columbus, Ohio, set her down, and let's get to work. Here's a more pressing question before we get into some cool shenanigans. I've been having this debate with my wife and my children. So my view is this: if you make somebody a delightful dish, right, AKA food, you make it for them. Is it not then that person's responsibility to rinse it in the dishwasher, in the sink, and then put it in the dishwasher? I'm just throwing this out there into the universe because my wife calls it, I'm serving my children. I call it, no, you're teaching them to be lazy. And I still have a hard time if I go somewhere else's, to y'all's house, I want to rinse my own dish because you made it for me, and I appreciate that. How does that work in your household?
So you're saying if you make something, then of course, then other people.
My wife or myself makes something.
Yeah, the people that consume it, the consumers should clean it up, is what you're saying.
Yes, that's my thought process.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I think you need to know the expectations going in, though, and sometimes people want to take care of all of the situation. We know Steph is very nice and she'll want to help out and everything, but I don't know exactly what you got going on there, Schlegs. But I would assume if you made a big meatloaf for the family, you'd be upset if the kids didn't rinse their dishes off at least. But I hate dishwashers, so if you're gonna clean it, I want to hand clean the whole situation, dry it, and put it back, because unloading a dishwasher is like carrying groceries in from the car and putting them away. I hate all that.
So what is your kids? That's remarkable. So do you hand wash them? Do they bring them back to you? You don't go fetch them, do you? And Beebs doesn't. Please tell me no.
What do you go fetch? What?
The plates? When they sit eating, my kids, I have a thing, when you stand up, you're not getting up until you're done, unless you are literally going to defecate on yourself. So finish your food, finish your meal. And then when you stand up, you take the plate, you take the cup, whatever it is, the silverware, take it, rinse it off. We put it in the dishwasher because I don't empty it. I make the kids empty it in the morning. That's part of their little tasks. But you're not going to leave it, because inevitably, I'll get it later means you're going to go upstairs and go to bed. And when dad's cleaning up everything at night before I go to bed, that's when it's going to get moved. So that's the problem. And so that's why I guess I'm just asking what you ask your kids to ultimately do.
Yeah, we need some parent guidance from the Hawkmaster, man.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have I don't have as, I guess, strict stand-up, sit-down situations as you might have at your place.
AJ,
they're free to stand up and sit down as much as they need, I guess.
Yeah, I had to draw a line because it was getting too loose. They lost the ability, if your coach said, hey, you can read this, you can make these checks. Well, if you make enough bad decisions, then they're going to take that privilege away from you. So I had to take it from them. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I get it. I get it completely. No, yeah, they definitely take their stuff and rinse it off and put it in the dishwasher, because we still do use the dishwasher. But yeah, if if it was a perfect world, I would want to stand there and we'd all wash the dishes as a family. We'd sit there and each have our own little station, and then we just put them back on the shelves, and here we go. We wake up and there's nothing to worry about in the morning.
Hey, tell us about Bob. Bob, I want you to go in because I know you're super juiced up about this, but you guys have some like big time things going on. The Pat McAfee show. Bob, go. I want to get into this.
Well, I
need
was
more
talking
of
a
it.
little bit about this earlier on my show on the Fan, and he AJ willed Tom Cruise to be there. And so I honestly asked him, like, what else in this world? She's like, is there anything you need AJ to put into the ether to make sure it comes true and comes to fruition? Because once he kind of wishes for it, then it just ultimately it occurs. Like there's nothing else that needs to be said.
Well, you two, my question goes into like you willed this into existence, but we also know that Tom Cruise is a shapeshifter, much like you are. So did you summon him through a hawk call? And then if so, what animal or type of being was he that he answered it and then responded 2 years, 3 years later? Like, how did that all go down?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know exactly how in 2022, I mentioned to Pat that, yeah, we should have Tom Cruise on. And then
why did you want Tom
because
Cruise
he's
on?
Tom Cruise. He as you were talking about animals, like he is like the apex predator when you talk about movie stars. Like is he the last great movie star? I don't know. But Tom Cruise, like you said, if you like however people feel about Tom Cruise, the dude, he puts out a lot of stuff. Like he puts out a lot of great high quality movies, and he's super passionate. So like I've always been intrigued by the dude. Like, man, every time you see him, he doesn't age. He looks amazing. He's jumping out of airplanes. He's flying airplanes, helicopters, doing all this wild stuff. So it's like, yeah, how do you not want to who would not want to talk to Tom Cruise? I mean, the dude, he's just such an interesting character. And I feel like he's only going to get even more and more as he gets older.
Yeah, I agree with you in that. Do you have a favorite Tom Cruise movie, AJ?
I mean, there's a bunch of them. I mean, Cocktail is a great one. I mean, the Top Gun franchise, you can't go wrong with any of that. It's tough. It's like it's tough to pick like your favorite Tom Cruise movies because if you look at his IMDb or you just think about all of his stuff, the dude's been in so many unbelievable movies. I mean, Magnolia is a great under the radar one.
Frank TJ Mackey, the motivational speaker.
Most people don't even know about that movie, and that's some of his best work, man. It really is.
Yeah, all the right moves. Good one right there in Western PA, Stilltown, aka All the Wrong Moves from that movie. What did you get out of that? Like, after the show, did you guys like swap numbers and say, hey man, like next time you're in Columbus, let's go hang out? Or hey, if you're ever doing another movie, can like I be in it too? Like, what kind of character would you want to be? Like, I heard it's in the works. Top Gun 3 is in the hopper. Like, what would you? All right, I got a better question. Top Gun 3 rolls out.
I love watching your brain work in real time.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Top Gun 3 rolls out. What's AJ Hawk's role in it?
Oh man, I think maybe like maybe an enemy combatant that dies like in a fiery crash, or maybe like I get to eject from a MiG or something, and then Tom flies his jet and hits me as I'm like thinking, oh, I'm safe, here we go, and you can see Tom just take the old jet and turns it around. He just runs it right into me. Like, I'm willing to do that. That's an easy role, no dialogue. That'd be perfect for me, I think.
Yeah, I think that
I was thinking like, what if you were like that diabolical drone pilot, you know, like you're just somewhere and you're just like bombing everybody and you're this underground layer and he has to, but I do like what you were saying because you could almost be like a kamikaze, like he shoots you, you eject, but then boom, you eject, like your suit.
But I'm shooting at him. I'm shooting at him from my parachute.
Gun.
Boom,
right,
boom,
boom. You don't even have a parachute. Like it shoots out to where you're like hand gliding and then he's coming at you, shooting at you, and you're just kind of doing this, and then you just face first into his engine, and now he's in a jet wash type mentality thing. That would be epic.
Like a memorable death. That would be nice. I would take that. People, something that I could remember from the movie. Like, oh, wait, you were in that? Yeah, remember when that dude got chopped up by the engine and Tom laughed and winked at him? Yeah, that was me. That's all I need.
I didn't know if it was
kind of like Jeff Uenig.
Well, maybe like kind of a Sly Stallone situation, like in I believe it's Rambo 2. Where the exploding tip arrow he shoots right into the helicopter, like that could be you. You could be the guy that's like flying, and Tom ultimately like somehow shoots hits you with like a 9mm while you're in a jet, like an F-28 F-35, and he just shoots you like with great aim.
Yeah, he could. I mean, if anyone could do it, Tom could do it. I mean, Howie Long was great in Broken Arrow. If you remember back in the day with John Travolta, like Howie was a legit like action hero in those movies. I think a couple of them.
Would you be willing to bring back like your short, high and tight for the military role? You think?
I'd be willing to do that. Yeah, to get in character. I think you have to do things like that to get in character. But the safe bet is I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about getting cast in any sweet movies like that. But I'll go watch them.
That's tremendous. What do we got on the docket, like Memorial Day weekend? I know that you're a guy that loves to get together with the family, have some fun. It's looking outside. It's not exactly the warmest day. What do we got on the agenda coming up?
I mean, I've in the past on Memorial Day weekend, you have long weekend. I've bought this big 100 foot long, but I think it's 15 or 20 feet wide tarp, and I've set up a big old slip and slide in their side yard. I've done that a few times. I tell you what, it takes a little bit to get that thing set up and go put stakes in all the corners and keep it down and make sure you can get the whole thing watered so people don't screech and rip skin off when they're
that's where you used all that baby. You said that's why you had all that baby oil in the house.
Well, that's why you shipped me containers after some house got raided like 18 months ago. You sent me all this extras, so we've already gone through all that in the slip.
Well, those dildos are like a perfect steak in every corner. I mean, you got enough of those right in there. You have the penis.
You need a bunch of them.
That's what you do. You penis butter those things in there like this. Boom, in every corner. Like, what are these things hanging out of the corner? Don't worry about it. For your safety. They're silicone.
That would be much safer because your kids do like step on the metal little stakes that you put through there. So obviously, Schlegs, you're onto something
you could even suction cup them down there at the end and have races. First to grab the jig.
Like I said, Schlegs, I love seeing your brain work in real time. Like you're so creative, amazing. Very creative.
Oh, it's amazing. Hey, little football news. So Ohio State's playing Texas Labor Day weekend. It was Saturday, looking like big noon. They were trying to allegedly push it to Sunday, so for a later time window, and Texas, I guess, declined. It seems like kind of a Bush League move to me. I wish Ross Burke would be like, hey, we're going to play it Sunday at 7. If you want to show up, great. If not, all right, well, then that's on you. And then we can go proceed like that. But I mean, I was really hoping to get some primetime football with this, and Texas appears to want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Are we still trying to get it out of this noon kickoff if it's not that on Sunday? Do you know? Is there anything?
Yeah, I think they are, but they said that they said no for the not making it noon on a Saturday either. But I don't know how Texas would have any say in that. I think that's all Fox. So I'm not sure about that.
I mean, if Texas doesn't want to play it like in a prime time situation, I don't know. Like I think stuff like that doesn't happen very often where you have those crazy atmosphere. Like even if you're on the road, I get it. Yes. It might be a little tougher, a little louder at night, but man, it's a great thing to be a part of. And that's one, like if you can go think of the experience you get for your team playing in something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why are they scared, AJ? Because I mean, regardless, it's Labor Day weekend. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's like, hey, like there's no NFL going on. Like you're the biggest game in town. Why can't we do this? Why would it be? And just so everybody knows, Age, why would it be in Texas's competitive advantage to not want to go at night in the shoe, more money? I don't know. Like, why would they not want to do that? Sounds pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they don't want to everything. They're thinking of like recovery after that. You don't want to get home even 12 hours later than you might. I'm not sure exactly how that would work, but I guess if you're thinking like, what's the most like competitive advantage you could get? You would say like, okay, like a prime time game in the stadium. Yeah, that'll be the loudest, most like raucous environment, but still like the noon game is going to be crazy loud as well. It just doesn't have like quite the same feel, I think, when you have like the whole day build up and then playing at night. We all know like there's nothing better than that.
So I'm sure we'll get to this here later in the year as well. But Jake Trotter, ESPN, called me and he's putting together a piece throughout the summer. I gave him both your guys' numbers, just to FYI. But
I think I'm doing that next week.
Well, because it's 20 years later that from our first game and then the follow-up in 2006 when they went down there with Troy and James and those guys. What do you guys, Age, we'll start with you, remember about that 2005 game?
The Texas game? Of course. I mean, I remember the atmosphere, first off. That was awesome. I mean, I knew going in because like – even through training camp, people were talking about that game and everything. But I remember the atmosphere. I remember Vince Young being absolutely gigantic. Everyone on Texas' team they had studs everywhere you looked, at every single position, it seemed like. And what a back and forth battle. And obviously I remember that we were not able to win that one. Losing that one was brutal, like especially at the time of the year and how big in the buildup. It was wild. But I mean, as I get older, I guess even though I'm pissed we lost, like it was awesome. Like in the moment, and like when we were there and we were playing before the clock hit 0 and we lost, like that was such an awesome experience, I think.
Yeah, it was amazing. I remember there being 100,000, like they were saying this, 100,000 people in the stands and 200,000 people outside the stands. I remember even leaving the game. Remember we used to bus back over to the Woody because we went there, and then they would bus us over, and they couldn't even get us out of the crowd. I was like, just let me out. Like we're going to walk back after it. But I also remember the fact that I missed a wide open sack on Vince Young, wide open. That was terrible. And then I also remember the fact that we had 3 turnovers, and we gave our offense the ball 3 times inside the 25 and scored 3 points the first 3 series of the game. That's how I remember the game.
It wasn't the first 3 series. They actually went up 10-0. Vince.
Did they?
Yeah.
Dang. This is what happens 20 years later. I'm about to go back and watch
dropped
it.
That bomb. Troy dropped one into San Antonio from like 27 out on a nice, like 30 yards out on a nice fade. Because I was just kind of like reliving my head, and Jake was like talking me through. I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, I remember they went down and scored twice right away. They were in that first zone read.
Texas did?
Yes. Yeah, they scored right away, dude. No one, everybody, and this is the point that I made, like, oh, we had such and such. One of our wide receivers play Vince Young. And I think you made the point, AJ, as we were talking like later in the year about, or later in our careers about playing, this guy repped Michael Vick for us, or this guy repped, like, dude, if you had a guy who was that good, they would be doing that. Mm-hmm. So you can say, well, we've got a guy who's doing all this stuff. If he was that good, he'd just be doing it for you. Mm-hmm. And so Vince Young, when he walks out there, like you said, they had the cocaine whites on. He comes walking out, and I'm like, my God, like that dude is all of 6'5" and all of 240. And he ran that first zone read. And it's like, oh man, I'm like taking a hard angle to go get him. And I'm like, oh no, like, and you can feel him just like breaking the angle. And so like you have to bend it hard to kind of push him out of bounds. It was like an 18-yard gain. I'm like, this is gonna be a full day's work.
Yeah, you can't replicate that with anybody. And until you get in the moment, it was almost, I remember I played Cam Newton when he was a rookie, and I saw him like the first time we come to the line of scrimmage. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this dude is an absolute monster. And I felt very similar thoughts, I think, when we saw Vince there, and especially early on too. Like, you got to adjust. You got to figure out, okay, all right, you got to take some different angles at this guy. And once I get there, I'm going to need about 5 or 6 of my buddies to help me get him to the ground, because, I mean, yeah, they went on and won it all that year, and the guy was unbelievable. So yeah, everywhere you look on that field, there was stars, I think. But man, yeah, we should have found a way to win for sure.
Should have found a way to win. And it goes back to just this game, because you had 2006, you had last year's game in the Cotton Bowl, you had the first game of the season. These are the things where college football has to take an initiative and give the people what they want when they want it. And we want it now. We want it live at the shoe at night. Age, as you go through, and we'll probably talk more in the show about like the new brackets and stuff. How do you see all this going down with where the NFL is, where college football can be from a commissioner standpoint to the conferences? Like, where do you see it going now with all these new things coming out?
Yeah, I know they talk about like there needing to be like a commissioner or something. They say Nick Saban should be that guy. Like, Nick Saban should be. He'd be perfect to be a guy like a commissioner of college football, or however they would want to word it. But why would he want to do that? The guy's killing it on TV, and that seems like just an absolute massive amount of work to even try to think about doing or whatever that would be. But I think I know the whole like the new seeding. I think is good that what they're going to do. I just wonder how many teams it's going to get to, and how quick. Like, what's the max? Like, what do you think we max out when it comes to how many teams get in the college football playoffs?
I think it'll ultimately be 16. I think next year they'll probably get there. There may be a little push for 14, but it seems like they're going to get to 16. I know they fixed the seeding stuff, and Schleg's and I'll talk about this once we catch you loose here in a minute. But 16 seems like a good number. Dude, if you don't get in at 16, like, don't complain to anybody. Like, there's no room to like. That's like the NCAA tournament for basketball. Like, oh, we left out this team and that team. Like, dude, if you're not one of the best, like 50 to 60 teams, you're not winning it. So I don't want to hear you complain about why you didn't get in.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what the number is, the teams that are on like the bubble are going to be upset. But I guess how upset can you be if you're sitting there trying to argue and getting in with 3 losses or whatever? But yeah, I mean, that's what makes it awesome. That's what makes college sports awesome, and all sports. Yeah, there's going to be some. Your fans should be like irrational towards you, like, and be so biased towards their team that they just make irrational arguments for you in favor of your squad. So I'm okay with that.
I like it. That's good, dude. Well, that's really good stuff. Well, hey, you enjoy, Pat. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Commemorate our.
Get that slip and slide, bro.
Yeah,
I know.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about it's kind of chilly, but yeah, it's all right. We'll figure
listen,
it out.
dude. But you get that oil on you, it just locks in the heat.
Once I lock the corners and all the sides in, like how Schlegs told me, we'll be set. We'll
be amazing.
Pack all those in there. Put them all in your pod, bud. Send them up here my way.
Absolutely. Well, I think he said one pod couldn't even handle them all, you know?
No chance. I had to get a car. Hey, side nugget, how my wine works. Like, everybody's like, well, what if it moves around and stuff flies up to the front? I was like, man, I don't know. But then I found like this random cargo net that you put in a truck. So I get in there like before they're going to come pick it up after the show. And I just like climbed all over these metals and I'd like stretched that thing. I trapped it in there. Yeah, poof, David Copperfield on the side. Here we go. We're ready.
That's great, Schlegs.
I got a special box for you, though.
That's good. Nice. Well, I mean, it's kind of like the GIMP box that you threw in the back there for a little bit later. It's all in play. Age, we appreciate it, man. Tell Pat we said hey, and we'll catch up here soon.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Oh, our guy Age doing the
I totally messed up. I should have asked. I had another question for because Pat's doing all this wrestling stuff. We should next time we talk to him, we need to figure out wrestler characters. Who would we be? Like, we don't need to necessarily have a name, or we can just let all the people on the YouTube machine give us our own names that we could be in there. And then, like, what's our costume look like?
Are you the number one?
We could do a tag. We could be a tag team.
Are you a heel or a babyface? We'll have to get into all that.
Yeah, you gotta explain all that to me.
Yeah,
the heel and the baby face, baby oil, exports.
Oh my gosh, yes. Attention parents, athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards, trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards, you got 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber. They custom print that thing right to your own unique smile, that 3D printing for the more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication. So you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Do not take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com today/Bobby and save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. More of the Bobby Carpenter Show coming up next. All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. And Schlegs, before we got some college football playoff talk.
Yeah, we're going to do
some of the different stuff. Well, I want to explain to you, and we can keep that conversation rolling here. But first, please, if you're watching the show, like, subscribe, leave your questions, comments, whatever it is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed Matty P yesterday. And yeah, I just saw a new achievement. We got 2 million views, Schlegs, on the YouTube channel. So poof, David Collins.
Oh, hey, let's go.
Yeah. So
that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we're making some headway. So that's not bad. But please like, subscribe, leave your questions, comments. Love answering all that stuff and as much interaction as we can possibly have. Like I said, Matty P was on yesterday. Love that. It's gotten great responses. He was awesome. Talk to our guy, Captain Big Arms, Coach Lachlan. Lachlan, and talking to him about that. I'm like, dude, not enough people know your story about like how you got into coaching, everything that you went through to do it. It's like, you want to come on? He's like, oh, absolutely, man, absolutely. So we'll get Coach on here, and he'll be looking good because he's got some huge gun Schlegs. I mean, I
know they're nice. They're nice. I don't know how much legs he does.
I watched
that
him
can be deceiving, kind of like my legs. You know what I'm saying?
He did some squats. By the way, Schlegs, you're not even up there at the Armory for testing this week, which is a BFD going on. So I'm kind of.
It is, man. McLean's doing amazing.
Yeah.
Jay, here's the thing when I talk about, like, I'm happy you brought that up because it's why I'm really excited to get back up there and get my kids involved, because everything that Jay has done and I've had envisioned for the Armory and what it looks like, feels like, acts like, it's literally for how would I want my kids to be coached, And we had a great Hunter had his banquet the other night in baseball, and these kids don't even realize, but I was like, and guess what, Buckeye Nation, you don't even realize this either, but me literally getting fired from Jacksonville and being able to invest in my son and his teammates, coaching them in the weight room, 15 to 18-year-olds, absolutely helped me coach this generation, this demographic of player at Ohio State in 2024. It was phenomenal. And I was like, I attribute that all to you guys, because they're cerebral. They for some reason, it's just crazy. They feel like they are obligated to have a seat at the table. When we grew up, like, there was no seat. Like, why do you like? Sam would always be why. And I'd be like, the answer of, because I bring that up. I say that.
Oh, yeah.
I say that probably once a day, but then it snaps him back to reality. And I got no problem giving you a seat at the table and asking questions. But if I say it with authority, it means that this is the only way, and there's some type of safety issue involved, or there's like an urgency that needs to be had in it. If not, I will preface it with, hey, Sam, we're going to do this because of this. I've changed my teaching style, which Matty P said. But, like, honestly, that now that the Armory is running in the manner in which it needs to be run, we have a lot of kids in there. They're all growing. They're getting better. It's safe. It's but it pushes them. And McLean's phenomenal.
It reminds me of the scene in Braveheart with Longshanks and his little son and his sweet little dress. And he's like, who is this who speaks to me as if I needed your advice? And I'm like, that's how I looked at my kids. Like, I didn't ask for your opinion, because I'm going to be honest with you. You're probably
that's a great scene.
Yeah, that's right before he throws them out.
He throws them out the window.
Then so I've declared Philip my high counselor. Is he qualified? I'm skilled in the arts of war. Military tactics. And get the arm around him.
Show me this lube that you're talking about.
Like, tell me then, what advice would you give me on the present situation? And throws him out the window. I mean,
then he tries to stab him. Then he tries to stab him.
He just smokes him to the ground.
Backslap.
Oh, it's so great. I mean, I remember watching that, like, this dude is ruthless. But before we get out here, I'll explain you this, like, the heel and the baby face.
Yeah.
So the baby face is the good.
Your face, by the way, it looks nice right now. Like,
I got to shave it. I got to steam. One of my kids, someone stole my damn razor out of my bag.
Like an electric razor?
No, I use this old school, man. That's what I'm all about. And so I had to get out. I get a little steam, getting softened up, and then hit it, and it felt pretty good. But I had to go in and get like this. I have got a couple spare disposable razors, and I had to use one of those. And so it's not quite as good as I would like, but we're hanging tough in there. So like, doing what I can. But the baby face is the good guy, and the like you said, you turn heel, and the heel is the antagonist and the guy that does the wrong things. And so basically, babyface, protagonist, heel, antagonist, you got your gimmicks and all that stuff. And so now you kind of, well, that's the thing. Like, if you can embrace the hate, and there can be heels that are even loved, like
I hate
The Rock. The Rock was a heel early on. Yeah. And then he turned babyface, and he becomes the hero of the story. And so all that stuff usually is his
redemption story. Yeah.
It really is.
Everybody likes a good comeback.
It is.
Especially Kim K.
Well, yeah. Okay. What is this?
Remember that?
That's from Parks and Rec with Chris Pratt delivering the best comeback of all time. Kim Kardashian.
No pun intended. No pun intended.
Oh, it's so great. But no, it's off the charts. By the way, I added Stu, old Stu Cat, to our from the PT training room.
Stu, he's in the.
I added him too. I was showing him some of the stuff today. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put Stu on here.
You need to get in here.
Yeah. So I was like, because he was loving it. Some of the Bill Burr stuff that we put in there and everything else. It was pretty wild. The Bill Burr on addiction is some good stuff. Very entertaining. That's the heel and the baby face. But there is some big news in college football, Schlegs. We're going to take a quick break because they changed how they're going to do the seeding. I want to get your thoughts on it. Something I think was kind of expected. We'll get your thoughts on that here coming up next in the Bobby Carpenter Show.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, welcome back into the show and the college football playoff. I think we can throw that up. We've got something in the Doomajig Slags where it talked about.
I put it up. Oh,
yeah. If you want
to
put
on the old, the new versus the old. Yeah,
yeah, the old seeding of what it would have had. So what they're going to do is, and this is amazing. And my man Thidoff this morning is like, should we give them a lot of credit for doing this fast? I'm like, not really. I mean, this is how you should operate. They usually move at a glacial pace. But the NCAA came out, or not the NCAA, the College Football Playoff Committee came out and said, hey, they're just going to do straight seeding. And so now everybody, if you're 1 to 4, will get the buys regardless of conference championship. And that also means that now Notre Dame can get a bye. And I thought that they were going to try to stay away from that to try to pressure them, Schlags, as best they could into ultimately joining a conference. Obviously, they've given up on that. So now Notre Dame is capable of getting a bye with that, and they're going to seed them 1 to 12. However, they will have the Power 4 and then the highest ranked group of 5 team will all get in, but they will have no element of being able to get the buys. They'll just be seeded. If you're 16, you're going to be the 12 seed. If you're 13 and there's a 16, then you'll be 11, and the 11 and 12 will get bumped out. But that's how it will ultimately go, and I like that method moving forward.
I do too. I don't like the Notre Dame one. We talked about their schedule and the lack thereof for this upcoming season. I don't like that. They should be in a conference. Heck, we're even hearing about the SEC bumping. We'll talk about it later. Schools out of their deal if they don't want to go in with the same rules. And now, but just because you have Notre Dame, an enormous brand, mind you, but also the only one of all the college football teams that gets to keep all of the revenue, whereas everybody else
don't have to share it. They're not in the conference.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's absolutely asinine. That'd be like, the Dallas Cowboys, like, oh, we're part of the NFL, but we're just not going to be in a division. We're just going to play whoever we want.
Dallas doesn't share their royalties. They get all their own royalties, to tell you the truth.
But royalties, okay.
So no, I understand what you're saying.
I think their royalties on their brand. I think everybody gets their own royalties.
No, it goes into a pool. A lot of it's they have some differentiation of how it works.
Really?
And I will say this. Here's the thing. Not all conferences do it the same. Some conferences, when you get in, you get a plus-sized portion of that if you're the team that made it. I know when Cincinnati was in the American Athletic, the AAC, and Fick took them to the New Year's Six, whatever one it was, where they played Georgia and then played Bama in the CFP. They got that entire share because that's how their conference agreement lined up. It's the fact that this is how the conferences do it. And so if Ohio State, if they wanted, if you wanted to go in there, and the Big Ten and SEC have always been even across the board. Now, that's the question that has come up. Should Ohio State begin to push back on that? You're going to make us play all these big noon kicks. We're going to be making this push. Like, why do schools who aren't really trying to win and don't invest money in their program, why are we giving you and subsidizing you when you're not providing us a product? Like that becomes then the question.
Well, here, I got a question for you, Bob. Let's look at this old bracket, new bracket.
Yeah, pull it up.
Pull it up there, Pat. So old bracket's on bottom. All right. And obviously Arizona State, Boise would no longer be there. What is the most difficult road versus this new one, right? Because you got a hot Notre Dame, right?
That might be the best question you ever asked. I'm going to be honest with you.
Really? For real?
I'm going to give you credit on that. That was actually like you're learning how to do this, a hypothetical question. Which would be the toughest? I would probably
the easiest.
I think the toughest would either be Notre Dame's or Ohio State's. Because if you're Notre Dame, Clemson's pretty decent, but Penn State, they barely beat them, and then you would most likely have to play Oregon. I think the easiest path, like you look at Oregon, you're the winner of Boise, Indiana, not Ohio State. Like they got donged, dude. Like you're getting in Boise State and Indiana versus Ohio State. Nah, they ain't liking that. Like Texas, they're probably regretting, like, hey, they didn't have to play Ohio State, but they would have had to play them in the semi anyway. But Ohio State, like you'd have to go through Texas, Georgia, and then probably ultimately Oregon. So you're beating, or maybe Notre Dame, but you're beating a lot of the same teams. Georgia would be the only other team in that bracket that, you wouldn't potentially have faced in Tennessee they could have come through, I guess. But it's fairly similar, but you got an easier matchup against Arizona State. But I would say Oregon, and they're the 1 seed, and they should have it like that. Like, so they're in a pretty good spot with where they're at. I'd say Notre Dame is in a tough one. And, probably Ohio State being the second.
Yeah, and I'm with you on the Ohio State because of how good Arizona State played Texas is why we can come up with that conclusion, because now that's a really good first matchup, because even though they're seated this way, Tennessee was not a matchup. Arizona State was. Good ball club, then going through Texas, probably Georgia to go to the college football playoff and then beat potentially an Oregon there or a Notre Dame, Penn State there. Oregon definitely has the easiest road based on those two teams. But anyways, the biggest thing is I like the way this turned out. You have the SEC winner and runner-up, the Big Ten winner and runner-up. You can't pick it that way. It's not going to be that way every single time. Okay, so here's another question based off of this. Let's go to 16 teams. How are we ranking those without a conference championship game?
All right. Well, we're going to get to that in our headlines then, Schlegs. We'll bring that up a little bit next, or maybe some tailgate talk. Who knows? I don't know if we'll have enough time. I want to tell you about my friends over at Backer. BCKR. It is a new apparel brand, premium Buckeye jackets and hats, premium brands, premium products. They've got premium pricing with it, but you're going to get all the features. It's still a great value because of the quality that you're getting, the look, the style, like the high-end skiing, fishing, hunting, whatever it might be. Their stuff is going to look good. It's going to feel good. It's going to provide you all the stuff that you want. They're working on some bucket hatch legs. I heard that. And then I talked to them about getting the fitted caps, and that is in the product development stages as well. So they'll hopefully be able to get that.
Well, let's be their R&D. And let me ask you a question, Bob. What's the deal with the bucket hats? Are they making a comeback?
Well, I think, man, if you want to keep skin cancer off your face, I think bucket hats are good. And they were originally for the fishing, and maybe they're integrating their way back into society. The wide leg jeans are coming back, so the bucket hat might be on the road to recovery. They've got tons of features, though. Listen, so go to BCKR, that's backer.com. Use promo code Bobby, all caps, BOBBY, for free expedited shipping. Again, that's BCKR.com. We got our headlines coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, now welcome into our headlines, brought to you by our friends, as you just saw. They're over at Lake Spur Marketing. Lake Spur Marketing, they're a full-service ad agency. Trust, strategy, performance, those are the bedrocks of which they are built on. Lake Spur, their team will shield you from the nonsense that you want to be involved of, the outside noise, the cold callers. They let you do what you do best, which is run your business. They've got the experience that you want. Over 100 combined years in the office. Lake Spur eliminates waste, delivers on budget. They don't chase clicks. They build partnerships. Lake Spur Marketing, the proof is in the partners.
Every time you say partnerships there, I immediately think of Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore, and Chubbs when they dap it up and he has his hand out there and he broke it and he imaginary hand shakes it,
Well, after he hits it, it gets run over by the car and he's like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Let's throw up before we get to the 16 team. Let's go headlines. Let's throw up the OSU lacrosse news.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. Some great stuff there. They've got a pair of first team All-Americans. As soon as we're able to get that loaded up, our guy, Mr. Big Tasty, Bobby Van Buren, great name. That's how you knew he's big and tasty, Schlegs. Bobby Van Buren and Caleb Fyock, both of those guys, first team All-Americans. Caleb Fyock also winning the outstanding goalie in the Big Ten, and Van Buren winning Defensive Player of the Year. So they've done a great job there, loading some guys up, having a lot of success, Schlegs, with some different dudes. Quick thoughts on that before we move.
No, super excited. Nick Byers done a great job. Unfortunate they got beat by Notre Dame real quick, bad draw. But yeah, you got to go beat them all anyway. So, but good for them. Like, goalie's outstanding all year. Defenseman, like what else can you say? They had a great run, and let's run it back. I know they're going to be hungry for another one.
Absolutely, run it back. All right, so you're talking about the 16-team playoff, how it would be seeded. I think it's going to be seeded the same way. I think they're going to do 16 now straight seeds, and you're going to have your well, check that, because they're talking about expanding with allocations, and so you couldn't do 16 straight seeds if you're talking about the Big Ten getting 4, SEC getting 4. I think the ACC and Big 12 each want 2 guaranteed apiece, and so right there you're at 12. Notre Dame at 13.
Put that up there, Pat. It says Big Ten and SEC. Put that up there. That's what Bob's talking about. So, Bob, basically what you're saying is because right now, based on this article that's coming up, they're discussing adding play-in games to decide the last 2 automatic qualifiers for each conference.
Yeah, so instead of just having the Big Ten championship, 1 versus 2, you would play maybe I don't know, your last 2 spots. So the first 2 would get in, and then 3 would play 6, and 4 would play 5, and whoever won those 2 games. So instead of having a Big Ten championship game, you would have like a Big Ten championship weekend. Maybe the SEC would be doing the same thing, I guess, as well. With that, and I guess maybe they even talked about the top 2 teams not playing and then just the other ones out there.
That's what I would do. I mean, if you already know that, but the question is
much bigger conversation. So that's like a whole darn show's worth of like, where are we at now and what the heck are we promoting? We'll have to figure out.
But they do it in the league, though, Bob. They do it in the league. Like you win your championship, you win the conference, and now you get the 1 seed, right? Like the 1 bye.
Yeah, I get it. You get it. Yes. Well, but you also there's much less asymmetry in the scheduling and the talent. And so that's where you have to try to bridge this and try to figure it out. We want it to look like the NFL, but there's inherent issues that prevent it from being graded and judged in the same way. So we'll get into that next week. Leave that on there because that's like a full 15 to 20-minute conversation. Maybe talking to Bill Bender about it there next week. All right, we're going to put a pin in this because we've got our tailgate talk coming up next, Schlegs. And we've got some great questions that have already been in there, so stay locked in. All right, welcome back into the show. It's our tailgate talk brought to you by our friends over at Real Truck Schlegs. And Terry Slusher threw in the chat.
See you, Terry.
Fellas, what does the Buckeyes summer workouts consist of? Curious if the QBs are throwing to the receivers, tight ends, and such for timing.
They do it all the time, bro. Back in the day, like Bob knows this, but when we used to go do in the summer, we would do like some 7-on-7 days and things like that, where Troy would have his own script or Justin, and then defense, like we had a couple of base calls that we would just play and we would go do that. It's more of an OTA type style anyways, because they're always doing football work. In the weight room, it's still competitive excellence. The only good thing about right now is that you have 6 weeks, week off, and another 3. So in actuality, you have 10 weeks to microdose and ramp up to get ready for camp as far as a volume on their legs, microdosing that to get ready. And I remember on this show, I talked to you guys before how Coach Mick, Dr. Dickel, that's not his real name. His name's Dan Sensor. He's amazing. But, it was like, how do we ramp up
call him
our
Dr. Dickel?
I just call him Dr. Dickel. One, I had George Dickel when I was in Tennessee at Nashville Airport. And I was like, oh, I was like, give me your best whiskey. And it was this glass. And I was like, oh, this is quite delightful. And then I went and bought some. And then I would put it in monsters when I'd be working at the shop. And I called it a monster Dickel. Like, who doesn't like one of those? When you're to be gas station ready and also the shop ready and just slinging out striking machines. But anyways, I talked to you guys about how when we were ramping up for spring football, they accumulated 12,997 yards of volume, total volume, going into the first week of spring practice. Why was that important?
It's running. It's
running. Why is that important? Because again, it's all things matters in volume. Even the dynamic warm-up has to be accounted for. But it matters because when they went to practice, the 2 days they went to practice, the skill position did over 11,000 yards. So you can't ever replicate practice and the volume of practice. And hell, we heard Matty P talk about how long these daggone practices are.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to prepare the tissue to be able to handle that. The good thing about the summer is you get a lot more time to do that. So Coach Mick, the leaders and how they've orchestrated power of the unit, they have these convos all the time. What days can they go throw? If it is just a quick timing thing or just wanting to get the ball and get some reps, how are you doing it? Hey, we just got done doing this on a running day. This is all like top end only, short route, like just like 1-2 catch, like work on that. Then you also got to think about like, what's the total volume of throwing that they're doing? Are they just throwing all the time just to throw, or are they throwing with intent from a quarterback? Because that was the latter part of the question. Just so you guys know, all those things are discussed, talked about, and tracked.
There we go. And that's the answers. And that's it. One more question. It said, with Matty P's defense, will they rotate more than Jim Knowles did? He actually addressed that yesterday. And he's like, if there's guys that can do specific things, the more people that can play, the better. And so he's like, you may have a guy who is your, quote, third down starter for this package, and maybe he's in on 2 minute, but he doesn't like start the game. But that guy's a role. And his role might even be more important in more critical moments than other guys. So the one thing that's beautiful about this defense, it's a little bit of inexperience, but they have a lot of guys that can do a lot of different stuff. And Matt Patricia is very skilled at utilizing what people do well. And so if that's going 3 safeties some, going 3 corners some, 3 linebackers, 3 D-line, 4 D-line, 2 linebackers, just how that's all going to look is going to be very, very interesting. And some of it's going to be based on situation and what you're doing, but they're going to make sure that they utilize all of the talent that this roster has. I promise you that. That's another great question. My man, Bobby Mack. We'll get into some more of that here as we move forward. So if you didn't see the Matt Patricia watch, I would encourage you to go back and rewatch that as well on yesterday's show. All right, we're going to put a pin in that. That's the end of our tailgate talk. We got our dude of the week coming up next. All right, welcome back in to our final segment here on this Friday, heading into Memorial Day weekend. And so a little bit of messaging here. Make sure, and we'll talk about on Tuesday, please make sure you celebrate responsibly, celebrate the liberties, the freedoms we have. Make sure that we commemorate those who have given their lives in service. If you know somebody's family member who has lost a loved one in service, make sure you thank them, because they're the ones that had to ultimately give their loved one up so that we can enjoy the great freedoms and liberties that we possess in this country today. And so thank you for that. And if you see anybody of active duty service, thank them as well. And any veteran, we don't thank them enough. So lump it all in there together. But if there's a yellow ribbon family out there, make sure you let them know how much you appreciate what their loved one has done for us. And with that, Schlegs, our do of the week, my do of the week is going to be Matt Patricia. It's easy. Whenever we have a coach or a player on, you're getting do of the week because you took some time. He was in a car. He took a red eye back from wherever the heck he was in Los Angeles or Seattle or who knows where. He was up, I think, in Cleveland. And he's like, hey, I got some time today in between these. I'm going to be in the car. Will it work? Reception was awesome. Quality was awesome. Sounded good. Shared a lot with us. Gave people a window inside. And just a great guy. And so I'm glad that people get to know him a little bit better moving forward.
Yep. Hey, Matty P was fantastic. Mine, boom, throw it up there, Pat. It's in the Doom-a-jig. Scotty Shuffler, hey, man, he's from Texas. He went to Highland Park High School. Guy just won his 3rd major. side nugget, like his son stood for the first time. And it was a lot of great stuff. Like he's carrying him in there. He's like, throws his hat down, throws his book down. Like, hey, play with that while I sign this card. Poof, David Copperfield. But third major win, really like him.
Absolutely. Well, that's it. That's tremendous. Little HP guy, one of the Scots, you, Stafford, Scheffler, Kershaw, all the legendary alum from Highland Park. I don't know what gets better. I'm on the Schlegs. That might be the Mount Rushmore right there of Highland
Doak Walker. Doak Walker.
Listen, forget about Doak Walker. Anthony Schlegel. He's your man. We'll catch up with you next week here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.